Hello, I'm Camille Clausen, and today I want to walk you through your makeup step by step. So if you're watching this video exclusive to my customers, you have either recently or in the past placed an order for Maskcara Beauty makeup with me. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so very much. So let's get started. The very first thing I'm going to do is spray down my Perfector sponge. I've gotten this damp and then squeezed it out with a towel. I have some color swatches still on my arm. Squeezed it out so that it's just damp. It doesn't feel wet. And I'm going to spray down my Perfector sponge with the Stay Setting Spray. And I'm going to dab that around and rub that around on my face and use it as a primer. Now the setting spray is something I definitely recommend. But if you don't have that yet, you can go ahead and skip that step. Maybe you have another primer that you like to use. Be careful with primers with a cream foundation like mascara. So you might have to play with it a little bit, see what your skin likes the best. Okay, so after I do that, I'm gonna let that dry, make sure that is totally dry. We're gonna get started with our main highlight shade. That is our main foundation color. I recommend the B² Blush and Bronzer brush, and although that isn't its original intention, I love it the best for application. So I'm just gonna dab into my makeup like this, just a little bit. A dab will do ya, a little goes a long way. And I'm just going to, see how I'm pushing the makeup on? I'm not wiping like a paintbrush. And there are areas where you're gonna want to like pull that product around a little bit. So it's not like no wiping or swiping ever, but for the most part, when you first apply it, you're going to want to dab like this, and then you can kind of do some little pulls to move the product around as you need. And as you can see, that is doing an excellent job on all of my redness. I'm using that smaller end of the B² Blush and Bronzer brush. I'm using that smaller end for application of my main highlight all over. So I'm gonna do that first. What I'm gonna do today is show you kind of a basic quad. You may have ordered just the starter, just the basics to try it out. And then I'm gonna show you also the next level of the hack stack. You may have gone with all of the recommendations and decided to do eyes and other shades as well with illuminator and setting powder, etc. So see how I kind of took my brush in like a swirling motion? That is totally fine too. You're going to want to just disperse that product around so it's nice and smooth. Now with a cream foundation, you don't want to use too much. If you use too much, you're going to run into some issues right off the bat. It's going to feel cakey, it's going to feel thick, and it might also feel like it's kind of sliding around your skin a little bit too much. We do not want that. We want a nice, beautiful, even layer of second skin that looks very natural, but also has the coverage that you need. So here we go to the next step. Now, the next step is a brightening highlight shade. You may or may not have purchased a brightening highlight with your main highlight color. I almost always suggest it, and here's why. Our skin has variation of texture and tone all over it, and we want to really brighten up that triangle of light in the middle of our face that draws people to our eyes. So I'm gonna use the Detail Hack, which is, it's got a detailed end like this, and then it's got kind of a, this side I use for contour. It's got a kind of a pinched flat end there. But this other side, I'm gonna dip into my brightening shade, and I'm just gonna go kind of in a pie piece right alongside my nose and under my eye in a pie piece shape. Can you see that? Can you see how that just evened me out even more and really brightened and popped underneath my eye? So we'll do that on the other side as well. And I'm just like the other one, I'm just dabbing it on, kind of moving it around, just like that. See that? That just really made my face appear so much more awake and alive. We're also gonna go right here, right in between the eyes, and just kind of fan it out. We're gonna go down here on my chin, just a little Cupid's bow under the nose, and then we're gonna kind of conceal those red areas. The nose. There we go. It's as simple as that. Now, midway through, I'm gonna take that sponge and just do a little bit of dabbing that helps blend it out. We'll also do some more blending when we apply contour, which is next. So next, I'm gonna take that other side of my detail hack, that pinched side. Now, if you didn't do this brush with it, you could also use this one and you would just pinch that together so it was a little more narrow as you're doing your contour. I always suggest the detail hack too, because it's just so versatile and it'll help you with all the steps. Okay, so we're going into our contour and I'm just gonna dab here. We're gonna start your contour color at kind of that top of your ear, right underneath your cheekbone into your hairline. So we're gonna start it there and we're just gonna apply down underneath your cheekbone. Contour can be scary for some people who have never contoured before. They feel a little overwhelmed by brown stripes on their face. Don't be scared. It blends out beautifully, seamlessly, evenly, and it is going to just do wonders for your face. Just like that. So contour is a way to lift and add dimension and kind of chisel in cheekbone areas. We're just adding depth and shadow and dimension. So we've gone underneath each cheekbone. Now we're going to go along the top of the hairline, up on top of the forehead and kind of into the hairline. And this is going to frame the face, help minimize the forehead, and just add more dimension. Now, what is left on that brush, I'm going to kind of bring down along my jawline. I have a double chin, and so I might want to get a little bit more product and help me kind of just go along and create a shadow underneath that jawline and then blend downward. And that is just gonna help minimize the appearance of my double chin, which don't we all love? Now, I'm also gonna take the rest of that excess or add a little more if I need to. I can kind of test that on my hand. And I'm gonna go down the sides of down either side of my nose. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of shadow on either side and then kind of meet that together on the end. I'm also going to take a little bit of that brightening highlight that I went back into and just add a little bit of that down the center. Now that's going to help minimize my nose and just add some more shape, just like that. Now, there's a couple different ways we can blend that contour. I personally love to use that same side of my B-Squared blush and bronzer brush and just do kind of a swirling motion, and we always want to go up. We want to lift. So we're going to go up this way, and I like to just swirl that back. See how pretty that blended? Same thing on this side. Just swirling motions and blend that back. And I do the same thing on the forehead. Since I have dark hair, I like to kind of make sure I push some of that color back so there's not a separation line in between skin and contour from the hair, just like that. And on the double chin neck area, just kind of dragging that down so that everything's blended. We don't want any sort of lines or separation on the face. Okay, next up is blush. So depending on if you just got 4 colors, I may have strongly suggested that you get the setting powder as your 4th. You may have skipped the brightening highlight or skipped the blush because it's really important to set this makeup, especially if you have any sort of combination or oily skin. So that may not be your 4th color, but for the sake of this video, we're gonna say it is your blush and lip color. I'm using Royal, and I'm going in with that same side of my blush and bronzer brush. I kind of use that for so many things. I love it. And I'm just gonna add in that color on my cheeks and kind of do that same thing where I'm just stippling dabbing this way, and I'm also just kind of doing those circular motions. We're gonna meet that blush right kind of on top of that contour and blend it back, just like that. These colors are also awesome to just pop on your lip. I love using them as a gloss. Some of them are more matte, so they'll be more like a lipstick, and some of them are more glossy, so they'll be like more of a lip gloss consistency. Okay, now we are going to set this makeup. Now, like I said before, you may have the setting powder instead of that brightening highlight as your quad. So there's two different ways you can use the setting powder. You can use the Power Powder brush, which is an awesome, awesome brush that really helps get that powder into the fine lines and wrinkles in the areas where you need to set that makeup. So with cream makeup, we don't want to do a big dusting all over our face. We really want to push that powder into the areas where we need it the most and set that makeup so it'll last beautifully on the skin all day. Just like that. Okay, another method you can use is your perfector sponge. Even though it's damp, you can kind of swipe it and dab it through that setting powder and just use it to set where you need, right in those areas where you may get a little bit oily or you really need your makeup to stay put. So that's two different ways, but I always recommend the Stay Spray and the setting powder. It's just gonna give you better chance of having your makeup last and stay all day as it is supposed to. I'm gonna add a little more blush because I am a blush girl. I live for the blush colors. They are my absolute favorite. Okay, now, that is kind of the start, like the basic quad. We have highlight, contour, lip and cheek, and setting it with that powder. Now, if you got more, if you went up to a Hac-Stack, a double-decker, or a mini double-decker, and you got more variety, more colors to do more of your face, we're moving on now. So if that was all that you got, you would then spray your face or your sponge with your setting powder, give that another set, let it dry, and you could add mascara from there. But now we're gonna move on to kind of the 2.0, the extended version, if you got all of your face, all of your makeup in one compact. So, moving on from there, next we're gonna add Illuminator to our cheekbones. Illuminator is this beautiful kind of shimmery, candle lit shimmer of a glow that we add to certain points of the face, and that helps also with the light catching it and giving us that youthful glow. So I'm gonna go right into my Illuminator, tap it off just a little bit, and go right up on top of my cheekbones with this color, which is Glamazing. I love this one. You can see a little bit more on that side than you can on this one, as far as the light on my camera catching that glow on top of the cheekbones. You can really see it over here. Just like that. And it just illuminates the face. We're also gonna put Illuminator, and I'm flipping over this brush, which is the Best Blend Forever brush. It's very soft. A lot of people will use it for blush, they'll use it for blending, they'll use it for eyeshadow, this smaller end. And that's the brush we're gonna use for Illuminator. We're gonna go up underneath our brow bone with that Illuminator. Also, you can go down the tip of the nose. That'll help also with slimming. Cupid's bow. And then really just kind of blending that out. It just gives a pop and a zhuzh and a sparkle to your face. Not sparkle in the sense of sparkly, sparkle in the sense that it's just illuminating and catching the light. Okay. Moving on to brows. Now, for eyebrows, people do it a little bit different. I'm looking for my Hotline brush. That's this one. This is the Hotline brush. This brush is detailed and it's got that tip that's gonna help you fill in and create hair strokes very easily. So I'm gonna shake up my Stay Spray and just give that end a couple little squirts just to get it. I kind of like will pinch it or dab it on my finger to get any excess. We don't want it wet. We just want it to really pick up that product. So I'm gonna go into the eyeshadow shade Coal. And all I'm gonna do is dab into that with my hotline brush. And then I'm gonna go up and kind of fill in. I'm gonna start here on this top line of my brow and just fill in my eyebrows where you can see that skin behind. So you're just gonna follow the natural line of your brow, and you're just going to fill in with that product. Because you used that setting spray on your brush beforehand, it's going to stay put, stay in place. And so we're just filling in where we need to, where that skin is showing behind the hairs. Anytime you're able to fill in your brows, it's always gonna give you a more youthful, defined look. Now I'm gonna flip that over to the spoolie end, and I'm gonna brush that product through. Just like that. And it's gonna blend it out so that it doesn't look like there's product in your brows, it just looks really natural. That is why I love all of these products and tools, because I feel like it is the most beautiful, natural makeup without cakey and very product, like very full of product. So you can really see a difference between those two brows. One is just a lot more defined and filled in, and it also gives my face just a little more dimension and lift. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm just gonna do a little spritz, just like that. We're gonna dip into that shade, and we're just going to kind of go along the top and fill in, and you can also just do little strokes just like that, and you're gonna fill in the lines that are already there with your natural brow. Now, if you struggle with creating a brow, like say you have no eyebrow at all, I have another video that I can send you with some tips on that. So just let me know. You can always reach out to me and let me know. I have a lot more videos and a lot of information on setting the makeup, fine lines and wrinkles, oily skin, and that is just one of the perks of being a customer of mine. I'm always going to take care of you, and I'm always going to find resources that will help if it's something that I can't. So thank you again. I love all of my little moonbeams so much. There we go, just filling in that natural brow, and I'm just gonna blend it out with the spoolie. There we go. All right, let's move on to some eyeshadow and eyeliner. Okay, now I'm just going to do a very basic two-step eyeshadow look for you today. I'm gonna use the Eyeshadow Everything brush, and I'm gonna use the colors You Complete Me and Stardust. So you always kind of want to use a neutral shade as a base. And we are going to dust that Stardust all over, almost all the way up to the brow, but mostly on the lid, kind of all over that area. We're just going to do that with the fluffy end of the the Eyeshadow Everything brush. Now Stardust has a little hint of a shimmer to it. Can you see that? And it's just a nice neutral color. Now another thing you could do is use the Vanilla Dust setting powder. If you didn't have a light shade, you could just use that setting powder with your eyeshadow brush just to prep your eyes with a nice bright neutral color. Okay. Now I'm gonna go into You Complete Me, and that one, same thing. This one is a really beautiful, kind of goldish, rusty neutral that I love. I think it just looks so great on so many people. Now I'm just gonna do this very basic look because I have a lot of other types of eyeshadow tutorials for later on, but you can see it just gives me that nice pop of color and shimmer. Another tip for hooded eyes, which I have, is kind of when the eye, like the skin and the bone here sticks out over the top of your eyeball. Another tip is to keep your eye open and kind of run that color with that fluffy end up over your eye while it's still open, so that when you close, you can really blend it out and meet with the rest of your shadow so that you can really see that shadow when you open your eye. So I'm just doing a very basic 2 shadow look, Stardust and You Complete Me. And I'm just using the Eyeshadow Everything brush. And really in the morning, it takes about, 20 extra seconds to throw on an eyeshadow look this simple, but it really brings your face together. It really, really does in terms of having that completed makeup look. Now, I'm gonna go back to that illuminator color, that pretty Glamazing, and I'm just gonna dab in with my finger a little bit, and I'm kind of gonna stamp my finger right there on the inside corners of my eye, right there. And then I'm gonna take that other smaller end of my eyeshadow brush and just kind of disperse that around. And that's just gonna give my eyes a nice glowy pop right there in the corners. See that? You can also do that same thing above, right underneath your eyebrow. It's gonna give you a little bit of a shimmery glow right there. It just really opens up your eye, just like that. Now, one last step before I finish up with this tutorial, and I am going to do some eyeliner. Now, a lot of people are very particular about their eyeliner, which is totally fine, but what I have found to be the prettiest and the most natural looking for me and my preferences is, again, you doing the same thing we did with that shadow for our brows to use as a shadow for our liner. I like to use this multitasker brush. It's got 2 detailed pinched ends. I usually use this one to create a really smoky eyeliner that is more smudgy, but today I'm gonna use the smaller end so I can kind of show a little bit more of a traditional eyeliner look, which is a lot of people's preference. So I'm just gonna spray the end of that with my Stay Spray, and I like to kind of pinch the end a little bit to just get it even more detailed. And I'm just gonna do the same thing I did for brows and go into that eye shadow shade called Salem. It's the darkest one we have. And then I'm gonna close my eye and I'm just gonna go right along the lash line. Just like that. You can see that color dispensing onto the lash line right there. And I'm just gonna carefully follow my lash line. See that? And you can always add more, so just start with a little bit of product and you can go from there. So I'm just gonna do a nice, basic, subtle eyeline just like that. You can definitely see a difference between those 2 eyes. Same thing on the other eye, but I'm gonna take a spritz of my Stay Spray. If you haven't noticed by now, the Stay Spray is a favorite in application for many different reasons. But having all of your makeup in one easy, simple, compact is just a game changer. It is just something that you can't really find that anywhere, and it's completely customized to you. That is the beauty of this makeup. And as you get more comfortable with it, and as you'll build your collection, you'll want more shades, you'll build the brush collection and have a lot more tools, and it is just the best thing ever. Okay, so I'm just following my eye right there along my lash line. Now, for down below, I don't go all the way over into the corners. I usually go about halfway and I'll drag that color. Same thing, just dipping in there, and I'm just gonna follow along my lash line carefully. It's a little bit harder to do in a phone than it is your bathroom mirror, FYI. I'm just gonna go right along there, about halfway over for both eyes. I'm not a huge eyeliner wearer, but many people are. And they feel like that really makes a difference in the shape and making their eyes pop. Just like that. Now, sometimes I'll flip it over to this end and I'll kind of smudge with that little bit thicker, little bit fatter side. I'll kind of smudge that out so it's a little smokier. Sometimes I'll apply with that end so that I automatically have kind of a smudgier look. So I am lined. There we go. Now, I know I did this already, but I'm just gonna set with that setting powder a little bit more under the eye area. And then I will throw on mascara and I will be good to go. The beauty of all of this is that it all works together. The brushes work with the creams and the powders work together seamlessly to create that 3D foundation that is also very natural and just loves the skin. It's not fighting against the skin like you sometimes feel like a lot of your makeup in the past. It's kind of like, I'm creasing and cracking and it looks cakey and it's the wrong shade and all of those things. This makeup just really loves working with your skin, not against it. So I'm just gonna do one final spritz with the Stay Spray. Could also just dab it onto your perfector sponge if you wanted. I got a little bit of, I did not wait for my mascara to dry, typical. And you're just gonna dab that in. So, I'm gonna go underneath and get that off, and then I will fix that in a minute. Thank you so much for not only your order, but also for being willing to try something new. It can be scary to try new things, step outside the box of your regular comfort zone, but I'm always here to help. Thank you again, and let me know if you have any questions at all. Bye.